This is Rico Reed artist Greg Fishman, and welcome to another video lesson. Today we're going to talk about a concept in practicing that I call the rotation. The rotation is a device I use to practice to gain mastery over my material, my melodic material that I'm going to use in my solos. And the way you do it is you have two separate ideas. You play each of them in 12 keys. First you have to get them in 12 keys, each lick. Okay, and for the example of this video, I'm just going to take lick 1 and lick 2 from the Hip Licks book, just to keep it simple. They're short licks, and it'll make it easy. So here's lick number 1. It starts on C minor 7, goes to an F7. Okay, get that in 12 keys. The way you're going to do it in 12 keys, practice it two ways. Practice it in the circle of fourths. This is a really easy one to do in a circle of fourths because since the lick ends on a fourth above the starting note, you're already set for your next key. So, in other words, I go C minor 7 to F7. Well, I ended on an F. And so the next lick is F minor, and I'm already set up for the note. I ended on B flat. I start on that B flat for the next key. So it makes it really user-friendly, to practice it like that. Get lick number 1 in 12 keys, okay? That needs to be really comfortable before you move on to the second lick in 12 keys. But get it really solid, okay? Here it is. Okay, notice I went all the way through the cycle. I kept it in time, and I didn't have any mistakes. I didn't have any hesitations with the time. That's how you want it. You want it totally solid, so you can be any key, and they're all equally strong, okay? If you need to back off for a minute and practice it in maybe 2 or 3 different keys each day, and take a whole week to get lick number 1 in 12 keys, that's fine. There's no time limit on it. I would just recommend that you do very high-quality work. You need to do high-quality work because going forward, it's going to get more complex, and there's not going to be time when you're doing the exercise and the rotation to correct mistakes in the transposed versions of the licks. They all need to be ready to go. Okay? So, do that groundwork first, and then here's lick number 2. Lick number 2 is a little more advanced. Starts in B minor. Now, lick number 2 starts on an interesting note. It starts on the 13th of the minor chord, and if you're not used to thinking way up there, 1, 3, 5, 7, most people are pretty good. You get up to the 9th, oh, it's a little shaky. The 11th, a little more shaky. The 13th, well, man, that's like mystery land up there. Okay, you've got to get comfortable with the idea that chords go all the way up to the 13th. They all do. Even if the chord symbol just says C7, really, you need to know your way all the way up to the 13th because it's a valid note and a beautiful sounding note. So, I'll give you a little simple way, a little trick to get to the 13th on this minor chord. It's a half step below the 7th. Okay? So when you're going, think about a B minor 7 chord, B, D, F sharp, A. Okay? Well, a half step below the A is the 13th, the G sharp, and it's a really juicy, fun note to play. So, lick number 2 starts like that. Okay, there it is in the original key. I call that the native key. That's the key I originally heard it in. Okay, so let's say we'll go cycle. Okay. Etc. Okay, get that in 12 keys, get it really solid, take as much time as you need, no rush, okay? Once you have them both solid in 12 keys, you're ready to apply the rotation, okay? And here's how we're going to do it. Start out with lick number 1, native key. Lick number 2, native key. Now, here's the rotation. Lick number 1, a half step lower than you just did lick number 2. So it's going to be B flat minor to E flat 7. Now, for the 4th one, your A minor 7 to D7. That was lick number 2. Now we're in A flat minor, and we're doing lick number 1. Okay, now we're in G minor, and we're going to go lick number 2. So you see how it's going. And they sound really nice. It's very smooth movement from one lick to the next lick. And it's got a very pleasing sound to it with these 2 licks. And I designed the book like that, so you can take licks. They're not all totally separate, even though they're different licks from one to the next. There's something aesthetically pleasing when you play this lick next to this lick, and that's part of the design of the book. So I really took a lot of time when I set it up, knowing that you'd be practicing like this, that I'd be practicing like this. I use a lot of that material in my own daily practice, and one of the things I'm really aware of is some kind of melodic balance, some melodic continuity from idea to idea. So it's not just a mishmash of random, totally random licks. I tried to have maybe a thread of an idea from the first lick running into the second lick. So it was a very smooth transition, okay? And so that they're well balanced with each other. Now, you can also do the rotation with the reverse, where you start with lick number 2, followed by lick number 1. So if we start with lick number 2, okay, that's it chromatically. Now, if you do it that way, you can do it with the play along, though you'll need to start lick number 2 in C minor instead to go with the play along. You're going to go, and then you're going to go, you would do that if you wanted to do it with the play along track, okay? But do it in the cycle as well. The cycle is really fun for this, and here it is, original lick, and now the transposed second lick, and we're going to start on F minor. Now we're in B flat minor, or first lick. Okay, now we're in E flat minor, second lick, starting on the 13th. What's the 13th of E flat minor 7? My God, it's C natural. It's a half step below the 7th. The 7th of E flat minor is D flat, and the 13th is a half step below the D flat. Technically, it's above it by a major 7th, but don't worry about that. It'll get you to the right note. So you hear how it sort of has a nice flow to it, okay? Be able to do it chromatically, be able to do it in the circle of force, be able to do it with the first lick first in the rotation and the second lick second, so they're in order. Also, flip it around, so you're doing the first lick, you're doing the second lick first and then the first lick second. Any which way, and then if you want to mix it up and do lick number 1 followed by lick number 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1, however you want. You can really randomize it if you like. Whatever sounds good to your ear. Be able to do it on the fly. You know, if you want to do it in ways other than chromatically or in the cycle, fine. Do it in major seconds. Do it in minor thirds. Do it in augmented fourths. Doesn't matter. The main thing is that you're controlling your melodic material, and it's coming out exactly as you're hearing it and conceiving it, and you're doing it in real time. That's the thing. To do it without having to slow down, without having to break the time, that's key. That's a key element of practicing. Like, all of your playing, all of your soloing will improve by doing this simple exercise on the rotation. We're just using these licks as examples, but you can do it with anything. If these licks are too hard for you to do initially, simplify it. You know, make something, just make up 2 arbitrary licks. Go 1, 2, 3 of one scale, okay, and 3, 2, 1 of another scale, okay. Okay, now that's the rotation, but it's applied to something very simple. That's applied to 1, 2, 3 of a major scale, and then 3, 2, 1 of a major scale. Okay. If I were to do that chromatically, It's the concept. The concept is the main thing, but it's nice to do it with the licks from hip licks. That makes it really fun. But I understand it's going to be a little advanced for some viewers. So take your time, get comfortable with the concept. Meanwhile, work on those licks in the 12 keys, and it feels so great to play the lick in 12 keys and not have to worry about technical glitches. Your chops will come along, your ear will come along. It's all good stuff. So nothing but good could come from working the lick in 12 keys. I'll tell you this though, don't write it out. Do it by ear. Even if it takes longer, it'll stay with you longer. It'll really be a part of you if you have to use your ear to guide your fingers. If you look at it on the page and use your eyeballs to look at the thing and you just hit transpose, you say you put it in finale and you hit transpose, put it in 12 keys, you're not doing yourself any favors like that, because you're just teaching your eyeball to tell what finger to press down. You're leaving your ear and your mind out of the equation, and that's the opposite of what you want to do. To be a good improviser, you need to be able to think on your feet, be able to come up with these things on the fly while it's going, while you're not looking at anything. And the saxophone, it sure is a non-visual instrument. You know, you don't even see your fingers when you're playing the thing unless you're looking in a mirror. So it's not like a piano or a guitar where you really can see the relationships of the notes before you, laid out in front of you. So do it by ear. This will do a lot of things to help your playing and help you to reach the next level. And that's today's video lesson. We'll see you all soon. Thanks.